Very well. I'd say this is part of our 2 Christmas specials. Well, you take that off. We've already done our charity work for the day.
No, it'll come off later.
Welcome to Calvin and Wren Reviews again.
Hello.
A bit of a long year this year, I'd say, but it's you've finally got into the film reviewing game.
Eventually, it took me a while.
I mean, it was very It's been a very interesting year. I think we're possibly going to be doing another video of our best and worst films of the year.
Yeah, I think to sort of summarise everything that we've seen this year.
Yeah, I think it'll be very interesting. That's obviously later on down the line. We're doing Star Wars today.
Yay!
Which I don't think there's been any film this year we've been more excited for than Star Wars.
No, I agree. Actually, I don't think there was.
Honestly, I don't think there was any film I was more looking forward to than Star Wars. Possibly.
I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was quite long awaited. Wonder Woman I was hyped for, but not. I mean, Justice League I was hyped for again. And okay, no, Star Wars I think I was definitely.
Yeah, but that was only because Force Awakens was just so good.
I really enjoyed it.
Force Awakens, it was probably one of my favourite films of 2015. Probably one of my favourite films of the decade so far.
I'm trying to think of what else came out in 2015.
Well, the only other film that came out in 2015 I thought was better was Song of the Sea.
Which I didn't see.
And even then, that was only in the UK. It came out in 2015. If we took out when purely everywhere releases, it would be Star Wars.
Which is testing my memory. I really can't remember what even came out in 2015.
The first Kingsman came out in 2015.
No way.
That was the one just below Star Wars for me. Kingsman would have been my.
Yeah, Kingsman was incorrect.
Any other year, Kingsman would have been my film of the year.
But now we're talking about Star Wars Episode
8, which is The Last Jedi, which I like the tagline, even if it does kind of give away the ending in a sense.
Well, I mean,
to be fair, we all kind of saw that coming when we heard the title.
I don't know, but I didn't quite expect. I mean,
without going to spoilers, obviously,
yeah,
because we need to get. We want Reese and Elliot to be able to watch this.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be able to for a couple of days because we were planning to do this after our next Anime Amigos with Reese and Elliot and sort of get us all in on this, but they weren't getting around to watching until after we do that episode. So we decided we'd get this done now.
So we're really going to have to be careful in terms of spoilers for that.
Well, Elliot's already told you he won't let you play with his dog
if
you do spoil it. So take that in.
That's a very real threat.
Well, I threatened to kick him off the vlog if he did it for me before I got round.
So close to.
But that one, even that didn't work. So.
No.
Well, actually, it did work because you didn't give away anything. I mean, I saw it a couple of days after you because of various reasons. I had to do it later than expected. But by the way, if you're wondering about the hair, I'm going to explain that tomorrow.
And the lack of beard.
And the lack of beard.
I've actually taken his beard as a trophy.
Yes, that explains what that is. My hair is not that white. But again, I'm gonna go into detail about that tomorrow because I think more people watch Anime Amigos than our show. But basically, long story short, I got rid of it to donate some hair to kids with. I got rid of about 7 inches to donate to a charity for kids with cancer. And I'm going to leave. So
it goes towards wigs and things.
Yeah, it makes wigs for children. It's called the Little Princess Trust. I'd do it again. I'm thinking, but I'm going to let it grow out a bit more. But I'm not. But next time I need to trim it to keep it healthy. I'm going to have them bag it for that reason because it makes. I remember.
It's no. What's the word? I started to say something and I completely forgot what I was going to say.
Do you know what's interesting? I actually took 7 inches off my hair. You know how long my hair was? Was
7 inches long.
Well, it was 7 inches longer than this, and that's only enough for half a wig.
Really?
That was.
I would suppose, yeah, that makes sense.
I felt really bad afterwards. I thought maybe I should have got rid of the whole lot, and they could have made a whole wig.
Yeah.
But no, I'm happy with how it turned out, because a few other people did. So there's definitely enough for at least one wig there in that charity drive. But we went to see Star Wars. So I was doing that. So I went to see Star Wars a bit later than expected. You went with our good friends Sarah and your girlfriend.
And my girlfriend Katie.
Who you saw in our Florida project review.
Yep.
So non-spoilers, obviously, which is going to be very hard with this film. In fact, this is probably going to be the shortest one we'll do without spoilers.
Yeah. We'll have to go into spoilers.
One of the things I will say about Star Wars is they know how to do their trailers, how to get you hyped without
Yes,
giving
they do.
anything away.
Yes,
And
they do.
this, I always say, if you want a prime example of how to do a trailer, you look at the final trailers of the last two Star Wars films.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that the hype and the build up for the episode was absolutely fantastic.
So Ren, thoughts?
I know a lot of people have found it to be quite controversial in terms of heavy like or heavy dislike. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was quite good. There are a few points that I don't think it measured up to other Star Wars films. For example, in terms of maybe like the world hopping and showing the depth and breadth of the universe that it's set in.
You stole my bit, you bastard.
Sorry. Few people have pointed out issues with dialogue and characters and maybe their inclusion and relevance to the story.
Yeah, but they're idiots.
Yeah, well, yeah, it depends on your viewpoint. But I overall enjoyed it. I thought it was quite good.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this one. This one's been this one was really fun for me. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I had a lot of good joy with it, and to be honest, it's at least in vein with one of the things I liked about this one more than that I felt because it fixed one of the reasons I really liked it was I fixed one of my problems I had with The Force Awakens, which was if I had one issue with The Force Awakens is that it borrows a bit too heavily from other Star Wars films, so it doesn't have. So as a result, it in one sense has its own identity, but also kind of lacks an identity at the same time.
Yeah.
Whereas this one has its own complete identity. There's nothing. It doesn't really borrow much, with the exception of Return of the Jedi. There's a few moments where it felt like it was borrowing quite a lot from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, yeah. I do want to say I think episode 8. While there are a lot of questions that we were left with from episode 7,
doesn't really answer many of them.
No, it answers a couple of them, and one of the answers I really enjoyed. I think was a really good answer.
I think another one you're on about, but we'll go. We haven't really talked much about this film together. Yeah. With other times we've done this, we've kind of had a chat. Even when it was we were at the London Film Festival, we were kind of chatting quite a bit.
Yeah, we'll be able to chat on the tube back or something.
We really haven't. We've not. Yeah, the problem is we haven't seen each other the last couple of days, so we haven't had a chance to chat about this. Yeah. So.
But in terms of the questions that we're sort of left with after episode 8, I think it was it could have been a bit more conclusive and more. I'm really shorting on words today, but
conclusive is probably the right word.
Maybe, yeah.
But at the same time, the middle film always has to build to the final one. I mean, so we like about Attack of the Clones, it at least builds to Revenge of the Sith quite well.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose it's the problem with being a middle film.
Empire Strikes Back builds brilliantly to Return of the Jedi. The thing is, we knew it's a middle film in a trilogy, so it can't be entirely conclusive.
Yeah.
Conclusive. Yeah. It's I mean, with the exception, some films can do it quite well, like Indiana Jones trilogy does it quite well. But that being said, I only think there's a few perfect trilogies where every film in the trilogy is a brilliant film. The original Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
Back to the Future trilogy. The original Indiana Jones trilogy before they had a Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, that wasn't.
And more recently, the recent Planet of the Apes trilogy. I think.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, I'd say, is also another one.
The Hobbit trilogy.
No, the Hobbit trilogy. We can't say that one. Those films are a mixed bag at best.
I enjoyed the first and second somewhat.
Battle of the Five Armies is where it really sort of goes down.
Yeah, the extended edition's mixed bag again.
But that being said, the problem is with those films, if we're going off topic a bit, is that they try to have the tone of both the book and Lord of the Rings, and as a result, it doesn't quite work so well because they're despite the fact they're both in the same continuity, they're both vastly different stories.
Yeah, the books themselves are incredibly different in narrative structure and overall tone. Yeah.
But going back to Star Wars, in fact, the War for Planet of the Apes is a candidate for me for best film of the year.
Really, I haven't seen War, but I've seen the first two.
Yeah, no, War concludes the franchise phenomenally.
Yeah. Also includes Andy Serkis.
Well, yeah, no, Andy Serkis is on a roll this year between his role in this film and with Caesar in.
Well, Andy's in the upcoming Black Panther movie.
Yeah, but he's playing the same character he played in Age of Ultron.
Yeah. He was minor in that one, but I feel like he's got more of a role in this.
But even then, he's not the main. I mean, I saw the Black Panther trailer when I went to see this. I'm not entirely convinced by the villain, but other than that, I'm kind of convinced. Yeah. I think it'll be an all right film, but I don't think it'll be Amazing Golf. I think it's just going to be a bridge gap film that will keep us all tied over until Infinity War.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
No, that's coming after Infinity War.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah, no, we get Black Panther, then we're getting Infinity War.
Oh, okay, right.
In fact, there's a challenge that you can do on Facebook. I spotted this. I think you saw it as well. Which is, if you start on January week, if you start with Iron Man, you watch one MCU film a week, it will get you up. By the time you finish with all of them, you'll be watching Infinity War.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which I'm actually going to do.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Star Wars.
But Andy Serkis in this film I think is pretty good. I think Daisy Ridley is once again fantastic in this film. I think
John Boyega is incredible. I actually really like him as well.
Especially considering he's got a very thick Camden accent.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that he's not American.
Apparently they tried that. Apparently they were doing on Force Awakens. He was actually doing his natural accent for a while, and then J.J. Abrams went over and said, "No, this isn't going to work."
Yeah, fair enough.
Which fair enough. And what I found interesting was they had to keep it secret for months, and John Boyega didn't ignore that and just told the taxi driver.
Yeah, I read an interview of them in one of the magazines.
But John Boyega's great in this. I think Oscar Isaacs I actually think is even better in this film than he was in Force Awakens.
Who was Oscar Isaacs?
Poe.
Poe Dameron, yeah.
He's probably one of my favourite parts of the film.
Mark Hamill, I mean, consistently good. We haven't...
Mark Hamill is for me one of the most underrated actors.
Yeah.
Working today. I mean, just look it up. I mean, he's phenomenal in pretty much every role he's been in, with few exceptions. I mean, I've now, thanks to Nostalgia Critic, I've now seen Rhapsody Street Kids Believe in Santa. Did you ever see Elliot's reaction to that?
No, I did not.
It was on Stardust. He threw water in his face saying, "Why, critic, why?"
Oh my God.
No, seriously, it's that bad. It's like the worst animation you will ever see in your life. I mean, Food Fight looks down on this animation.
Wow.
And this came out in 2002. It's very bizarre because I think Mark Hamill in this role has been brilliant. I mean, I really liked him in Brigsby Bear as well. I mean, he's been on a phenomenal role this year.
I actually did like him in that as well. I mean, obviously he's well renowned for being the Joker voice from all the Arkham series of games as well. And I think
the animated Batman animated series.
And Batman
he's just been. I mean, he's reprised that role so many times, but he's so fantastic at playing the Joker.
He's so well suited.
I've always felt he's a much better voice actor than live action actor. But that being said, he's very good in this film as well. I mean, the weird thing is though, because of the way his voice has changed, I'm now half the time I'm watching it, hearing his Joker voice coming out of Luke Skywalker.
It has really changed, hasn't it? Like, I mean, I would not have connected the two, thinking like, episode 4, 5, and 6 with the Joker. From Arkham games, anyway.
Also, what is the amount of time this is taking place? Because the start of the film sort of makes out that Rey and Luke's plot is taking place directly after the events of Force Awakens. Then the rest of the plot kind of acts like it's a few months to a year after Force Awakens.
Yeah, that is quite confusing. Well, it depends. Well, I mean, we'll get into this shortly. But I mean, speaking about maybe. Do you have any other sort of notable roles? I mean, Carrie Fisher, obviously, this being...
Yeah, she was much more in the film than I was expecting her to be in.
Yeah, I mean, considering that... Well,
she's dead.
So.
But we're going to spot... and we'll talk more about that in spoilers. But, which I think... the other facts about this film is... There's only... I still don't think they've quite got down lightsaber battles for this generation of Star Wars films. I don't know. The one thing I will say really positively about the prequels is the one thing they did absolutely brilliantly right was the lightsaber battles.
Yeah, I think
every single one of them was just fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, a couple of exceptions within the bunch, but they were. But I really enjoyed the lightsaber battles of the prequels, and I thought with all the new technology that's come in that time, how are they going to do it in these films? And I think they've tried so much to homage the old Star Wars films, they haven't taken advantage of the one thing the prequels did right.
I'll be honest. I think the tone, since being purchased by Disney, and I've noticed this with a lot of Marvel films as well. Similarly, is they all seem to be gravitating towards this more humorous, light-hearted, and I'd say kid-friendly, but I think it's more accessible now than it was, and there's no issue with that. But I do think that...
I think it got the right balance, though. I think it got the right balance overall. So final thoughts are: we all really like it. We have a couple of niggling points with it, but overall we'd really recommend it, and we don't think it's.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously see it because it's Star Wars. I mean, I'm not saying don't see it.
But this is still a really good Star Wars film.
It is good. It is good.
I mean, I'm really enjoying the way Star Wars is going at the minute. I would think, would this... Do you know what it is? I think Episode 9 is going to be... without going to spoilers, I think Episode 9 is going to be really good, and it's going to make this film look better in retrospect. So I think we're not...
Yeah, I hope so.
My thought is, I don't think people appreciated Empire Strikes Back until they realised just how much it paid off in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But it's all these...
Well, no, I mean, people definitely respected...
No. But yeah, but I've said I think they respected it even more. I think the next installment of the film can often make the old one, you respect the old one even more. I mean, I think.
I would say that 5 still had an awful lot of. I mean, 6 was incredibly good. 6 is probably my favourite.
I'd say 5 is my favourite.
But I mean, in terms of, I mean, even before that was, you were left with that massive spoiler of Darth Vader spoiler being Luke's father. Like, I mean, I think that as a standalone film would have been absolutely fantastic.
Do you know what's ironic? It actually kind of plays a part into this film, but that wasn't originally going to be the plot twist.
I saw that as well. That they had 2, didn't they?
They had 2 twists.
This one got leaked.
And I love the fact they said to Mark Hamill, "Look, I know this. George Lucas knows this, and now you're gonna know this. So if this leaks, we know where it came from." And the thing is, as I said, if you wanted to keep something secret, under no circumstances say to Carrie Fisher, "This is in your confidence."
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're moving on.
I think we should go into spoilers.
Spoilers. So that's kind of our point, spoiler-wise. Okay.
Are we going chronologically? So
Yeah, let's go into chronology. So the First Order's kind of started taking things back.
Yeah.
It's basically like, I think that defeat at the end of Force Awakens didn't really do much.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, they're still a galaxy-spanning empire, and they did have access to a massive, planet-destroying...
What is the First Order? They still really have not explained that very well.
I feel like they're...
So the same with Snork, they have not explained...
Snork.
Nice name, isn't it?
Snork.
Snoke. It's the stupidest name for a Star Wars villain.
I like the name Snoke. I think it's good. But no,
yeah. I've been making that mistake all the time. I always know I've made that mistake, and I don't know why it's in my head, that one.
I think the First Order is just like a sort of group within the Empire.
But the Empire fell at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Well, I don't know if it did. I mean, it was just the Emperor that was killed, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was implied that I think they've now retrospectively changed it that the Empire didn't quite fall, but they retreated into the background. The First Order's kind of again. I haven't.
Yeah,
I think the new expanded universe stuff is really like. I know Battlefront 2 is dealing with the aftermath of the destruction of the Death Star and Vader and Emperor's death, because I know you play a lot as an Empire. I haven't been playing much of Battlefront 2 because I've already heard about the microtransaction. In fact, I actually sent out.
I think everyone said about the microtransaction.
In fact, I actually sent out a thing on my Facebook account. I don't know if you saw this when I was in the cinema, and they just played a trailer for Battlefront 2, and I said, playing trailer for Battlefront 2, still no one's going to buy this piece of shit. That's another one in the swear jar. Have you broken it?
No.
That's another one for you. But it's. So that kind of happened, and it then kind of moves into Rey and Luke training on that island, which is ironically set in Ireland.
Yeah, well, the first thing you actually see from that, so how right at the end of the
Force Awakens,
episode 7, she hands Luke his lightsaber and he picks it up and looks at her in this really grave way. The first thing he does is chuck it over the back of his shoulder. And I mean, I know that says a lot about obviously what the characters experience, in the interim between episode 6. And obviously we know that Kylo Ren betrayed the Jedi Temple.
Oh boy, that goes into a real detail.
In the past, yeah, we find out an awful lot about that. But I think while he just throws it away, I think that's kind of, that's kind of cheap. While it was amusing and stuff, because to see this really epic look and like all the tension and all of the dramaticism that was brought into that scene, and then just to chuck over his shoulder. Although it was quite funny, I think
yeah, that was a bit of a weird moment for me, and I thought. But the fact of the matter is that he's tried to. He kind of brings up an interesting point in the film, which is that maybe the Jedi need to die, because at the end of the day, the Jedi he this film kind of calls out the Jedi for basically causing half the problems in the galaxy right now, and that maybe it would be better for the kind of fan theory that maybe it would be better for the Jedi to go and to and again it's kind of moving towards that point because again there's obviously not that many Jedi running around since even Luke's attempt to sort of get them back up and I actually think it'd be interesting if in the 9th film we do see kind of resurgence in the Jedi and we see them start to make a resurgence of some sort because well we know we know from episode 7 that Finn can use a lightsaber.
Yeah.
But
I mean I think anybody can actually use a lightsaber.
But it's the use of the Force, which seems to be something that only a select few can kind of pull off. But with very similar to how they did season 3 and 4 of Legend of Korra with the Airbenders coming back.
Well, hang on, doesn't have you seen Rebels? Have you been watching Rebels?
Oh yeah, I'm loving Rebels.
So when's that set? Is that set?
That's set between 3 and 4.
Oh, okay. I was going to say because I know that some Jedi escaped into, you know.
Yeah, some Jedi did survive. I think it's Order 36.
But 66.
66,
but I don't
execute Order 66. That's right.
I don't understand. No, I don't think there's any chance that more Jedi can come. I think the purpose of the Last Jedi is because Luke was the Last Jedi, but now the Last Jedi mantle has been taken up. Well, yeah.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But the Jedi, it's kind of the sense of this is the ending days of the kind of. What I found interesting was for a film called The Last Jedi, it did not take the obvious point of, it didn't do the obvious thing of making it just about the Jedi.
No, yeah.
It really concentrated the Star Wars universe as a whole, which is one thing that I think the prequels really did wrong, which was they are way too Jedi heavy focused.
Yeah. I mean, they are changing though in future because they're starting a new trilogy, aren't they?
Yeah.
But it's not going to be focused on the Jedi or the Sith. Well, I mean. It's not focused on the Skywalkers, etc. Like
Rogue One. What the brilliant point about Rogue One was Vader was the only Jedi in
the entire film.
In the entire film, there was
I still haven't seen Rogue One.
Yeah, there's no other. I like the fact that they had no Jedi. They actually, they implied a lot about that. It wasn't just the Jedi that had access to the Force.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
Seriously, if you see Rogue One, it's got the best Darth Vader scene ever.
I've seen that on that's a couple of times on Facebook. But even the orange character, what's her name? The one played by Liberty Nyong'o.
Oh yes, she turns up in this one.
She's Force sensitive, isn't she? So
yeah.
People can be Force sensitive and not have access to them. Well, I mean, bloody hell, even Leia isn't a Jedi, and she. Okay.
But that was always implied from the original trilogy. I like the fact they kind of like played on this idea that. The fan theories that did come about from the original trilogy that Leia did have some access to the Force.
Okay, so what happens in this film is you may have seen in the advert, and it's heavily implied that Leia dies because in this sort of space battle between
and it's implied that Kylo Ren's going to fire.
It's implied that Kylo Ren kills her basically.
But spoiler, he doesn't do it, which I actually felt was interesting from a narrative perspective, that he was so able to kill his father, but not.
But not his mother.
Not his mother.
But some TIE fighters destroyed the bridge of one of the.
And killed Akbar at last.
Yeah, he finally killed Admiral Akbar.
What is it, Akbar? Is it a trap?
Apparently so.
That's a great meme.
But yeah, so she ends up basically being taken to. So she's left floating in space basically. I'm like, I don't know if they backtracked on this whole idea, but I don't actually know how they managed to shoehorn this whole thing in, or at what stage of the film she died. But Carrie Fisher, Leia in space after being dead, well, presumed dead, in the vacuum space, and she's got frost all over her skin, opens her eyes. She reaches forward and she uses the Force basically to propel herself towards the docking area of the ship. She's only ever been able to, in the films, shown to sense the Force and to, she felt reverberations in the Force when Han died. She could understand.
She can feel. Yeah.
but she's never been shown to use the Force.
You do kind of, I imagine loads of Star Wars fans quote that clip of Han in Episode 7 going, that's not how the Force
like,
works.
you're not, yeah. I mean,
but it is kind of how the Force works. The Force, it is implied that it kind of can be treated like a life and death situation. Like, you know, people who can have amazing feats of strength when they're put in life and death situations.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it was cool. It was really nice to see, and because, like, you know, it really does show.
And it did kind of confirm a few fan theories that Leia was learning some of. I mean, other than that, there's. Oh, by the way, go back to another performance I think is really good. Dermot Gleeson, I think, is excellent in these films as.
Hux.
Hux, I think he's one of the better villains of this.
No, I see. I would disagree. I really hated what they did with Hux's character in this one. So, okay, I just want to call.
Yeah, they kept going back and forth with him. They kept going back. He's either a wormy underling that has no backbone, or he's the one who, or he's basically
Hitler. They like the thing is they set him up. Okay, I'm going to say for this so one of the major spoilers that you'll find out roughly like 2/3 of the way through the film is that Supreme Lord Snoke dies at the hands of Kylo Ren. And my issue is
no one figures out that it is Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Even though it was obvious that was going to happen right halfway through. I mean, that's.
I literally called that 2 months ago. I said to people, I know what's going to happen. I know that Kylo Ren is going to kill Lord Snoke.
And I said that, and I said I didn't think that was going to happen. I said I agree with you, but I didn't think it was going to happen in this film. If it was going to happen in Episode 9.
No, I always knew that Kylo Ren was going to be. Well, I reckon I didn't think he was going to take over as Supreme Lord. So again, I'll go back to this, but
is Snoke motion capture or is it just a really good suit for Snoke? Because I assumed that Simon Pegg in Episode 7 was motion capture, but he's apparently a suit.
Simon Pegg's in Episode 7.
Yeah, he's the junk dealer who Rey sells to.
That's Simon Pegg?
That's Simon Pegg, yeah.
No way, that's cool, that's interesting.
There's a few of them. Did you know Daniel Craig's in that one as well?
What?
Yeah, Daniel Craig, he's a stormtrooper who Rey manipulates with the Force.
That's Daniel Craig?
That's Daniel Craig, yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no, there's a few cameos like that. There's a few in this one as well. Kevin Smith was in the last one, and there's a couple of British comedy actors in this one.
Oh, I remember seeing a couple of... Yeah, no, Casey pointed a couple out. But what I was saying about... so
I've just blown his mind.
Literally, yeah.
But
what I was saying about General Hux just quickly is in Episode 7, basically the Hitler comparison. When he stood in front of the First Order giving this rousing speech, in front of massive yellow banners, which I will point out is basically a Third Reich metaphor, if you hadn't clocked onto it.
Oh yeah, like the Star Wars never had Third Reich metaphors before this.
Yeah, well no, I mean, but like, he's giving this rousing speech, and he's just so hateful and horrible and detestable. And like, when in this film, basically from the first 5 minutes, you see Poe Dameron just having him off on through like the comlink to one of the Imperial Star Destroyers. And it just transforms.
Guess the Empire had a few of those lying around after the fall.
Yeah, it just transforms General Hux basically from this, from this horrible, nasty Imperial bastard basically to kind of a bit of a mockery, and I think they really lost on his opportunity to be an interesting character. And I'll go into more depth about that later, but.
But I mean, it was like they do imply. I mean, there's also that Force. I've liked the Force connection between Rey and Kylo Ren.
That was interesting. They've done that before in the Knights of the Old Republic series.
Yeah. No, I like the fact that was a callback to that one. I mean, because we don't actually know if all the Old Republic stuff. I think all the Old Republic stuff is still in continuity with Star Wars at this point.
I mean, the thing.
I think it's basically all the expanded. I think the only things that aren't in continuity anymore is most of the expanded universe novels and most of the video games, including, unfortunately, The Force Unleashed, which I thought was a very good way to bridge.
Yeah, that's non-canon, isn't it?
Which is a shame because I thought that was a really good bridge cap between 3 and 4. I liked the idea that Vader and the Emperor had created their own rebellion.
Yeah. Although what this sort of by basically, what's the word, excluding everything from the extended universe, they can pick and choose what bits they want to keep from it, so basically the best bits. So having these Force connections between two characters, i.e. Rey and Kylo, is similar to having it with like Kreia and the protagonist from Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Because again, Knights of the Old Republic, you're making your own protagonist.
Well, but like, having similar techniques and powers means that they can basically just pick and choose what they want.
I like the fact that some of the expanded universe is going, because some of the expanded universe is really not that great.
Yeah.
And it's and half the time they're really unnecessary stories. I like the fact now we've just
wasn't the Emperor reborn several times?
Yeah, I always never liked that. I always thought the Emperor is meant to fall at the end of Return of the Jedi. The Emperor is meant to go. I liked the fact they did imply that they were going to try and in the comics they tried to imply they were going to fool the world into thinking that the universe into thinking that Emperor Palpatine is still alive.
Yeah.
But they obviously never they never filled up on that. But in regards to this film, I liked I liked the whole thing, and I liked the idea that Rey puts her trust in Kylo Ren, and then to such an extent she allows herself to be captured by the First Order.
I do like that.
Just like, which is getting back to the Return of the Jedi comparisons. The whole thing between her and the idea that she's good. I like the fact that they didn't go complete Return of the Jedi, because after she's basically talked to by Snoke, Kylo Ren kills him for vaguely explained reasons. And they go into the best action scene of the entire film.
Yeah. I think that Kylo's decision to kill Snoke was quite justified.
No, I get why,
because
but
it also fits with the equation of the master student within the Sith. You know, the student kills the master and then basically becomes the master. So that implies that Kylo's probably going to take on the student.
Which I'd be very interested to see if they tried that.
Well, unless Rey also takes on the student, but she's not a master.
Yeah,
but then we have Force ghosts. Oh yeah, sorry, Yoda turns up in this as well.
Yeah, Yoda turns up as a Force ghost towards Luke, and I like the fact they remembered that Yoda had aged quite a bit in the time between the prequels and.
They just used the same model, which I loved. They used the animated puppet that they used for episode 5. Episode 5.
5 and 6.
Yeah,
he was
5
in.
and 6, yeah.
It was. I like the fact they just dug that. They found that out. They found it in some warehouse somewhere.
Did they?
And from what I've heard, they went look. Apparently, they weren't looking for it, and
They just found it.
And they just managed to. And they just said. I think they've got a bit worried. They had a collector bought it at an auction. And I'm gonna have to go and find. Or maybe it was just lying around and Disney got it somewhere. I've heard various stories about about the Yoda doll since then. But I mean that was a cameo I quite liked. I wasn't expecting it, and it was pretty good. And
I think that really added a lot to it as well. I mean, like from.
I like the fact it was basically just him saying, "Oi, Luke, catch a grip."
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think the sort of turmoil. I mean, maybe it was actually an interesting point from.
And I like the fact the back and forth between Luke and Kylo, and the fact that they both
conflicting stories. You mean?
Yeah, the conflicting stories, and then we finally get to the bottom of it. They both kind of failed each other.
Yeah.
Luke did not put enough faith in Kylo to not fall to the dark side, but Kylo did not put enough faith in Luke to lead him away from that.
Yeah, exactly.
And he took the easy way out.
Well, I do think that maybe in the face of really serious decisions, but I mean, like Luke hasn't really struggled with it massively before. And
it is implied that Rey might go to the dark side.
Yeah, it's implied more in the trailer, but I think by the end of it, we really see that she
will not fall to the dark side. I wasn't entirely. I mean, I actually thought it seems like every time they want to do this, they want to try and get the fall to the dark side. They never quite get it. They either don't quite get it right, or they chicken out of it at the last minute. Star Wars Rebels was implying that they were going to go down that route with what's his?
I don't know the characters' names.
Ezra, that's it. They were trying to they were implying that Ezra. They implied at the end of season 2 that Ezra was going to fall to the dark side after he'd been after Maul had kind of got to him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but Darth Maul.
Yeah, I believe it's the spider thing, doesn't he?
But no, he comes back as a full. He gets back his proper legs and all that. The Clone Wars is when he goes that spider thing.
That's right. Yeah.
But and he even has a showdown with Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, I believe so.
But with Darth Maul, they didn't quite go full force with that. They chickened out of it at the last minute, and and I thought and with Rey they kind of chickened out as well with this one. I don't think they have the guts to have a well-established good guy character fall to the dark side, with the exception of Anakin. And the only reason I think they did with Anakin was because
it was predetermined.
It was predetermined. They had to do that, so it was no choice in the matter. I find it really I don't think the Star Wars writers ever quite have the guts to say people can fall to the dark side.
But it's quite interesting to see that duality. I think like we see the good side and both sides of a lot of characters in this.
That's why I like the fact that Kylo and Rey, we see their good side and the bad side, and we get the reveal of her parents, which hopefully they won't retcon with Episode 9.
I really hope they don't. That was the thing I was talking about. I really enjoyed that. I think
I preferred that to any other answer, any fan theory.
Kenobi or whatever.
It's not Kenobi. It's not Sky. She's not a Kenobi. She's not a Skywalker. Exactly. She's just Rey.
Yep.
There's nothing important about her. Her parents sold her to pay for junk. Yep. Essentially, they sold her for junk, and I loved that reveal. I thought, oh god, what's it going? I remember leading up to that moment where all those moments, and I thought, oh god, I'm gonna hate this. I'm sorry. And then I thought, oh my god, they actually went down the right route.
Yeah.
They actually went down the right route for this character.
But I do think that it's quite interesting that you can see, like, you can see the struggle within Kylo, and that's evident from Episode 7.
I do like the new character Rose. Actually,
I'm mixed on Rose. I think she has a good back and forth with Finn. I hate. Why would you throw that relationship in there within the last 10 minutes? Okay.
Oh, shut up.
That's irritating. I think that was completely unnecessary.
Yeah, no, it was a little bit unnecessary, but I like the fact that they kept Finn and Rey apart for most of this film. Also,
I dislike that. I thought that was really. I was liking that they may have the opportunity to then.
I like the idea that Rey's gonna. I like the idea that Rey is gonna train Finn to be a Jedi in the next.
I don't know if that'll happen. I think she needs to learn herself.
Yeah, she still can. Unless they do the whole thing that they did with Return of the Jedi, where they have a 3-year gap. So seriously,
they do that.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi, it's 3 years between Empire Strikes Back and.
Yeah, no, they may do that though. I don't know.
Yeah, I love the fact there's a joke in the Family Guy version when they take it. Even though we know exactly where he's going, let's wait 3 years to get him out.
Yeah.
But did any of the expanded universe novels actually? I've not read that many of them. Did any of them actually explain why they spent 3 years to get Han away from Jabba?
No, I don't think. I haven't read any of them, to be honest. But
I'm so glad with all the advertising for Star Wars in this, we haven't had Starbucks have a Jabba the Hutt. I'm so glad they never did that. Someone was considering that. Someone was considering that. Tell me that, because there's always some of those. I remember seeing. I've seen some right shit with Star Wars merch on it. I mean, some of them are quite good. I like Star Wars Monopoly. At least that kind of changed. At least, I mean,
Star Wars chess, obviously.
I mean, at least Star Wars Monopoly kind of changed up the board and the rules a bit.
Yeah.
So that one, so it actually felt different. Whereas all these other Monopoly games are kind of just the game with a character swap. Like Simpsons Monopoly doesn't really do much different.
Yeah.
But I liked a lot about the lights. I said the lightsaber battle between Kylo Ren and Rey and the guards was great.
What did you think of Admiral Holdo? Because I've got a couple of points on that.
Admiral Holdo. I didn't really like her as a character at first, but I felt like they actually took the audience down the same route as Poe with her. And as a result, we liked the character more, and I thought like her sacrifice was.
Yeah, that was one of the coolest points in the film. I've got to say, I really enjoyed that. The sheer scale of it and the CGI. Although it begs the question, why don't they do that more often?
It didn't exactly have great effects. It was a bit disastrous effects.
Well, okay, so for
she was in more of the film than Forrest Whitaker in Rogue One.
Yeah. Well, for what happens, Admiral Holdo, so one of the rebellion commanders, after Leia's basically put into after she's in the med bay, she's put in command, and as a sort of final act of defiance, and the film's basically building up to this for a good amount of time, she jumps into hyperspace and basically rams the Imperial fleet
to stop them shooting down,
destroying the massive.
And of course,
flagship.
The rebellion is by the end. It's basically down to the rebellion level. It's even then. I think they're even weaker than the rebellion was at the end of Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, you mean the rebellion is weak? Yeah, the rebellion is weaker than where they were at the end of Empire Strikes Back, definitely.
It's
the First Order.
The god.
But you know what I mean about the whole ramming thing. Like, why don't they just have a way to remote control, put a ship into hyperspace, and then just ram an Imperial Star Destroyer? Because
I think more because they haven't invented Wiimotes yet in this universe.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't. I think there's one thing that's been implied through all these films is that the autopilot systems in Star Wars technology is terrible.
Yeah.
Seriously, the autopilot is terrible in all these. Yeah. That being said, we then get down to the planet where they're on their last stand and the galaxy is not coming to their aid, and then Luke turns up after being bowled out by Rey.
Yeah,
Right.
so she Rey leaves the planet after their training. After their training, basically she disagrees with his.
Again.
Oh no, sorry. She finds out the truth about what happened between Kylo and him.
I believe she can turn Kylo to the good side.
Yeah, so
Doesn't work, obviously does not work out so well.
Yeah, so it goes up to the Imperial flagship. Has this whole thing with Kylo. Thingio dies. Snoke dies. But before that, so she finds out the truth.
Still don't find out much about him though.
No, we don't get any information about Snoke, which
apparently we're gonna get more about it in Episode 9.
But I actually think that Snoke may return. I think that maybe something will happen, if not just to haunt Kylo. I mean, we've had Force ghosts for the light side. I don't see why we shouldn't have those for the dark side.
I think it's implied that you sell enough, you lose enough of yourself with the dark side that you can't return in that sense.
Maybe, yeah.
I think it's kind of like basically saying you lose your the Force can turn on you. I think it's kind of implied that way, and I think Vader just managed to give back enough of himself that he managed to get a Force ghost at the end, which would change appearance depending on which cut you'd see.
But Snoke, I mean, Snoke looks like he's probably died a fuckload of time anyway.
Yeah, he does basically. What the hell is up with that design?
I know, it's crazy. But a lot of people theorise that maybe it was General Tarkin. Like somehow survived episode 4.
Well, it doesn't explain how he's got access to the Force and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. A lot of people said it's Palpatine reborn, but I don't see how that. I don't see how that.
No, because he was alive during the time of the Empire. It's been confirmed. So he was around. Well, maybe not around, but like he was, you know.
He was alive in some capacity.
He could see it. He was there.
He definitely witnessed it in some capacity, but we still don't know that much about him. So Luke turns up at this planet. He confronts Kylo, orders everyone to shoot at him. Yeah. Which is that brilliant line. Do you think you got him?
Yeah.
Which is one of the few funny moments of the film I actually quite liked.
Yeah.
And of course, saying go down. What do you mean? I'll send you down now. Which I mean, the lightsaber battle. I mean, I kind of called the twist that Luke wasn't really there and was using it. Because mainly because I thought, well, why would he dodge instead of trying to?
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, how else could he survive that? I know he's Luke Skywalker, but like, you know, if he's defeated by Kylo Ren in the Force battle like several years ago, I don't think that he could realistically survive so many shots from AT-AT walkers.
To be fair, he was a bit off. To be fair, he was a bit off guard when the first time he took on Kylo.
Yeah. Okay. True.
I mean,
yeah. True. Actually. Yeah.
He wasn't exactly going there with the intention of this is going to be a fight.
No. He didn't even anticipate him to fight back.
The irony being that, and then it kind of ends with Rey getting everyone out of there, and they leave to do the rebellion, and Luke basically uses the last of his Force to do this, and just disappears like Yoda did.
Yeah, that's something. Okay, I understand why it makes sense in universe, but I do think that's a cop out. Like again, Luke Skywalker, prodigy of the Force. Basically, the equivalent of Anakin Skywalker in terms of the prowess with.
Yeah, but Yoda was meant to be. Yoda had the exact same prowess, and he still disappeared the exact same way.
Yeah, but he was like thousands of years old, and like I don't know. I think he was physically weak and dying anyway. I mean, I know Luke was old, but like, surely he could have just gone to the planet. I don't know. I feel like he could have done something there.
I think
if it took Rey around the same amount of time, if he'd left like shortly after that, he probably could have arrived and done something.
Also, doesn't exactly match up his line "See you around, kid."
No, it does not.
So yeah, fat chance of that. Early Kylo dies at the end of Episode 9, which I think he will die in 9. I don't see him living beyond Episode 9.
I really don't know.
I mean, I'm dead excited for Episode 9. I want to see how.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited.
I want to see how this series is going to conclude.
But by the end of Episode
8, I didn't mind Luke dying. I think I knew Luke was going to die as soon as I saw the title, The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, like passing on the mantle to Rey. Like Rey is now the Last Jedi, but
and with Carrie Fisher dead, I think it means that the entire cast has kind of passed on to this new cast.
How how did she survive?
Yeah, seriously.
Carrie Fisher survives the entire film.
I have no idea. Leia's. I mean, they're gonna have to kill off a character in the next one.
Or just not have her appear. Maybe she flees to the Outer Rim for some reason.
I'd much rather she sort of die of a broken heart or something.
No, she wouldn't do that. No, Leia's too strong for that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Overall, I think the film...
Is this the best Star Wars yet?
No.
No, it's not the best Star Wars, but it's still up there with the best lot, I'd say. I think it's up there. I think it's up there with the original trilogy and Force Awakens.
I think because it's only a short amount of time, and we hadn't had a massive amount of time to process what's been happening. In addition to the fact we haven't got episode 9 for perspective, it's hard to say as to whether or not this is one of the best ones in my opinion. I think it had a lot of really good points, but it also missed on a lot of aspects as well. I didn't like the fact that they separated like Finn again from like Rey for the entirety of the film, because their relationship was so strong in episode 7.
My wondering is, are we going to look back less fondly on Force Awakens now? Because a lot of people say that we don't look fondly now on episode 1, but I remember at the time everyone loved that film.
Episode 1 has some really good points.
Episode 1 has some good points. It doesn't have great. It doesn't have a lot though.
No, again, it has some.
It's
really good points.
it's the worst of the Star Wars films by far. Possible exception being Attack of the Clones, which also I think Attack of the Clones is technically worse because whereas Episode 1 is bad but memorable, Attack of the Clones is just dull.
I think I'll be honest with you. Attack of the Clones is the one I've seen the most from the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, but at the same time, Attack of the Clones, the only good moment, there's only a couple of great moments in Attack of the Clones. Most of the time I felt with Attack of the Clones, I felt like it was frightfully dull.
I quite enjoyed it. I really enjoyed episode 2.
But of the original the prequel trilogy, I'd say my favourite is Revenge of the Sith, because at least that's the one that felt most like a Star Wars film. I felt like it was building. It felt like it had the most good points. It had the most character development. I felt like this is what the prequel trilogy should have been more of.
Yeah.
I don't think at no point do I think it's a good film because there's too many bad points to it. But with it's actually got some Hayden Christensen's better acting moments.
Yeah.
In that one, when he's actually playing Vader, he's all right. I mean, apart from his obvious whiny moments.
Yeah.
It's like, oh fuck's sake! When he's burning and just yells out, "I hate you."
I do think Natalie Portman just becomes Queen Amidala just becomes a terrible character in episode 3. I'm sorry, she just becomes a whiny. Like, I know this is going to sound incredibly sexist, but I think she's portrayed in a very sexist way. Whiny baby maker.
Yeah, no, she's completely.
Like she has no other point than just to cry about Anakin's decision to turn to the dark side. You know, doesn't show any of the resourcefulness or stubbornness or that she's shown in previous films. She just becomes a sideline character who dies of a broken heart.
And we separate out the brother and sister. We separate out the brother and sister because reasons.
Yes, I don't know why.
But look, maybe that we're better off keeping them together so we have good tabs on both of them. No, we gotta separate them. Why? Reasons.
But yeah,
no, we both really like this film. But I think the reason is because with Force Awakens, we'd had 3 not very good films prior to this to really get us involved. We didn't have much faith in. People had kind of lost faith in Star Wars, and we weren't really expecting much from Force Awakens. So when it turned out to be quite good, when it turned out to be really good, we were really surprised. So I think with this one we had more expectation for it. I think that's the biggest problem. We had more expectation this time. So as a result, we kind of overwent into it. If you look at it just for what it is, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I would say it's fine.
I go into it, I'd say I think it's pretty good, but I think I've certainly seen there's been films this year that I've seen that have been a lot less captivating than this one. This one held my attention quite a lot.
Yeah, I do think certain points dragged.
Yeah, true. But,
so
but that's true of all the Star Wars films at this point. You can't say there's not moments of Empire Strikes Back that don't drag.
No, but I would say that what I mean is that like I think certain particularly again with Finn and Rose and Benicio del Toro's character, I can't remember the name of.
The Codebreaker, yeah.
The Codebreaker, who is an odd inclusion.
Yeah, he is one of the worst parts of the film.
Well, I actually thought that they were good. So with Rose, Finn, and
so we can't turn any of the Jedi to the dark side. To the dark side. But we can turn this random dick to the dark side.
Yeah, but like I thought that they were going to go for a sort of like. I mean, they went on a Millennium Falcon. No, they weren't. But I thought that they were going to go for some sort of like, let's form a rogue. Rogue. Like let's form this buccaneering crew basically of basically like One Piece. Let's form a crew of specialist characters in different fields.
Also, like a Star Wars Suicide Squad.
Yeah, not Suicide Squad, but like Rogue. Well, I don't know about Rogue One. I haven't even seen it. But like Knights of the Old Republic, where you form like a party of characters who have specialties.
Rogue One's kind of like that, yeah.
Is it? Well, yeah. Then do that with like Finn and everyone, because that would be cool. Because these are non-force sensitive characters who have different areas and different.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like about the. That's one of the things I actually liked about this current two films compared to the original trilogy, compared to the prequel trilogy, which is they know how to. I kind of implied this earlier, but they basically not all the focus is on the force-sensitive characters. Because the prequel's way too much focus on the force-sensitive characters.
I've got to say, I think the worst part about this film was the last scene with the child with the ring.
Why? It kind of implied the rebellion's been building some momentum amongst the young.
The child, I don't know. It just struck me as intensely irritating. I saw the child before. When they're releasing the animals from that planet. I recognise that it's supposed to symbolise the strength of the strength of the rebellion and their cause, but I do think that it's just a bit cheesy.
Yes, because Star Wars has never been cheesy.
And this goes back to what I was saying before about Disney having purchased the franchise, and again with Marvel, they're trying to inspire a new generation of kids to like Star Wars. And Star Wars, traditionally was like a nerdy thing, but now that nerd culture is popular culture, they're trying to make it into even more accessible popular culture by introducing it to a small.
I think they're doing a good balance between that, but they're also trying to build on nostalgia for the original series. And I like the fact they're not caught. This film sort of proved they're not entirely caught up on nostalgia, which was the biggest problem with Force Awakens. It's completely reliant on nostalgia.
No, I wouldn't say it's reliant on nostalgia.
It's a large part of that film, though. That you've got to admit, the Force Awakens really tries to go for the nostalgia bug, but with how many plot points it kind of repeats. Whereas this one, there's a lot less plot points repeated. And I think the point is it's set up for episode 9.
No, but that's not due to nostalgia. I think that's an accidental symmetry between episode 4 and 7 being similar because they're the first and the most recent in a trilogy. I think.
But it also borrows a lot of points from Empire Strikes Back about the revelations of who's related to who. And
but I don't think that's nostalgia. I think nostalgia is maybe including points like C-3PO appearing in R2-D2 and stuff. Like the nostalgia would more be like the classic space battles between TIE fighters.
Okay, we're running low on time, so I'm going to agree with you on that one to shut you up basically. I really like this film. So the final thoughts are really like it. We have a couple of issues with it, but at the same time. We dead see it again. I recommend seeing it in cinema. I'm
probably going to go and see it again at some point, but just to again gather thoughts. I think it's quite hard because it's like 3 hours long, isn't it? 3 hours.
Yeah.
With a long film like this, it's hard to sort of process everything that you've just seen. I think unless you see it more than once.
We don't know if we're going to go and see this. We don't know if we're going to do another one of these Carbon reviews before the end of the year. Jumanji for some reason.
No.
Or The Greatest Showman, which is coming out on Boxing Day.
Is it?
We might do
we
that
won't
one.
be able to do it here.
No, we'll do it we might do that one in the new year.
Yeah.
So New Year, we might give you Jumanji or The Greatest Showman. We're not decided yet if we're doing one or either of those. We're definitely going to do The Commuter.
Yeah.
Because I know you really like the look of that one.
Yeah, I'm quite.
I think it looks terrible, but I think we haven't. But I wanted to pick it because I thought we haven't done a film. We haven't done really an awful film for these vlogs.
Yeah, true. Well, I mean, apart
from the party, really.
Yeah, or this one, depending on your viewpoint.
I'm sorry. Some people have said this is a really awful film, and I disagree with them entirely.
I think parts of it are awful, but I also think parts of it are
There's no part of this film which I would say are awful. There's nothing in this film I would say is awful about it.
Not the cheap laugh with the 4-breasted alien that sits on the rocks.
No, that's kind of just more. I more felt like that one.
Is that not like boring sexual humour?
Yeah, fine, alright. That one. Okay, fine, you found one. But that's the only point I'd say this film is awful. But other than that, we've really and come back tomorrow. We're doing Anime Amigos again. We're gonna have our last nominee for Anime of the Year. We're taking our best of 4. We're gonna have our last nominee for Anime of the Year.
Indeed. So yeah, we'll see you tomorrow when it's up. Well, I
For the love
mean,
of-
this will be up today.
For the love of God, let's get for the love of God, let's get back and watch Junie Tyson because we need to decide whether that's the anime of the
This
season.
is the last episode now.
Last episode tonight.
Sick.
Let's get on with it.